Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Parents Lounge. We are your hosts. I am the ever incorrigible Jason Gowan. As with me is the hilarious and wonderful Jamie Kaler. How are you, buddy?
I'm shaking because I just literally walked in the house with the kids, but I'm good. I'm good, man. Yeah, honestly, the kids are back in school, so there's a
Are you
little.
surviving?
I feel like somebody took the gun away from the side of my head. Hi, Sarah. How are you? Dude, it's so good. This is honestly such a cathartic thing every Tuesday, and
It's an escape.
it's like doing anything with the kids is like it's like a white knuckle ride. And then it's like, get out of the car, get into the car. Where's your water bottle? What did you forget? What is happening? And that's not, get out, nightmare. And so now I'm here. And
Do your kids intentionally, like after you say 58 times in a day, ignore you when you say you need to have your shoes on and you need socks and all of these things? Do they intentionally do this to antagonize you as well?
No, they just don't care. It's not a thought process for them. I go, put a sweater on. You're going to be cold. I'm not going to be cold. Oh, because you're 5 and you understand meteorology and weather and where we live. You've been on Earth and barely out of the house in these few years. But you know what? I'm going to defer to you. And then, of course, she's freezing. And then I'm at the park going, I told you, lesson learned. But then the other parents are like, well, that's child abuse. And they're going to call social services because I want to tell the other parents, hey, I told her to bring a sweater. That's on her. At some point, she has to accept responsibility. I know she just turned 6, but you know what? You got to learn it sometime.
It's a cold, hard world out there, and they got to learn it at home from us. We're the people who care.
Well, don't you think that it's so funny that happened recently where it's like my kids are so privileged, but every kid's privileged because
they're all privileged now.
It used to be a free-for-all to get. This is what happened at Easter. Was that I picked her up from her Easter party at school, and her first words out of her mouth, sobbing. I was told I would get 6 eggs, and I only found 4. And she was like beside herself. And I was like, "Well, you found 4." And she goes, "But I was told. They told me I would find 6." And I mean, like melting. And I said, well, you didn't find the other 2. And she was like, what are you talking about? I'm owed 2 eggs. I know I'm 5 at the time, but you owe me 2. Somebody owes me 2 eggs and I better get those eggs. I'm like, hey man, welcome to life.
Yeah, like at some point, the participation trophy generation softened the kids a bit. I never got a participation trophy for anything. In fact, the only thing I ever won was an ice cream eating contest as a kid. That's it.
That's actually pretty good to win, dude. How much ice cream did you eat?
Well, it was based on speed. It was at our county fair, and I would just do this thing. I would pull like an anaconda, and I would just like slide it down my throat. I won like 10 years in a row. And they actually discontinued the contest because somehow I just kept winning this ridiculous contest because I went full ice cream anaconda. Just like I was like Fred Flintstone eating a thing. I was like, oh.
Did you get a crazy brain freeze?
Yes. I think honestly that's where a lot of my brain damage came from.
Honestly, it's still thawing out at some point. Were there other kids in the contest, or were people like, no, this sounds like a terrible, it would be like eating like, hey, let's have a boiling water eating contest where you're like, well, that's going to burn your throat. And it's like, who cares?
Katie, they did not name the trophy after me. They just discontinued the contest.
Well, to be fair, your last name is Go Win. So I feel like every trophy's named after you in a way.
Do you know what it's like going through life with the name Gowan and but it's Go Win and being terrible at everything?
No, I have no concept of what that's like at all.
Because you have a very definitive, strong Kaler. I mean, there's no word association there. Is there? Like, is there anything like?
Well, my first name was Jamie, so I grew up during the years of the Bionic Woman. I was bullied. Obviously, I'm a comic, so I'm pretty damaged. Like, I'm probably one of the more sane comics we all know, but yeah, of course, it's horribly
terrifying.
Jamie. I was Jamie Summers for a few years in grammar school, and then even years later, I was Jamie's Crying by Van Halen. that was a couple years of like, yeah, I guess I'm crying. I mean, it's a sad movie, and yeah, Jamie's crying right now. I don't know what to tell you.
And you were crying during homeschooling.
Yeah. So honestly, I would say if this last year, if I made a calendar, every month would be just a picture of me like just tears and be like, hey, March. We should make a calendar. Jamie cries. Jamie cries every calendar.
I think a lot of fathers and mothers would relate to that calendar.
Yeah, but to get back to the point, the kids. I mean, she was told when I was a kid, dude. It was a free for all. Like kids broke their arms, killing each other, trying to get the Easter eggs. And she was like, "Well, I was promised 6 eggs, and I'm not. It was like I'm not leaving until I get those 6 eggs." I'm like, "Wow, dude, seriously."
And it sounds to me like she was ready to litigate the entire thing. There's
a class action lawsuit going on right now around the school, and all the kids that didn't get enough eggs are suing the kids who got too many eggs.
See, yeah, it was a brutal bloodbath. Well, see, I don't think we've ever talked about this, but my dad's family, my grandmother had 16, they actually had 18 children, and then lost 2. So like our family Easter egg hunts were a brutal literal bloodbath. It
was like Hunger Games.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the way you said it, did they lose 2 during the Easter egg hunt? It was like, how was the Easter egg hunt? Pretty good. At least they didn't get killed like the other 2. 2 got wiped out. It was pretty deadly. Like kids are with bows and arrows and tridents and nets trying to get eggs.
My cousin Jeffrey just killed somebody with a trident.
that's always like, really? That's the weapon you chose, with a trident? I'll take the sword. I feel like the sword would probably be whatever. However.
Well, it's all about the style.
My kids are back in school, so yeah, everything's been good. But here's it's still like a tense thing, like because now you're back like in the crazy line picking up your kids at school. So I picked up my kids at school, and then I had to go down this alley to get out, and there was a guy who he had blocked the road. He had blocked the alley with his car. He was like waiting for a spot. He was parking, and I honked a little bit, and he opened his window and was like, this is happening. We're going to do this right now. And I've got the 2 kids in the back seat. Have you ever had that where you're like, all of a sudden a road rage thing is starting to simmer up, and you want to, I'm like, dude, because, I saw him and I was like, he seems older than me. I feel like I can take this guy.
Right.
He probably has a gun or a pitchfork, or maybe he has a trident in the back seat. I don't know. But I was like, I wanted to unleash on him, but the 2 kids were behind me, but he was jawing at me, and then out of nowhere he goes, bitch. And I was like, and I wanted to like light him up, but the kids were in the back seat, and I was like, and I couldn't say anything. Have you had that?
Yes. In fact, that's where my road rage has actually been, where Jace has learned some of his more choice phrases.
Yeah.
In fact, when I heard him tell his little brother that he was going to cut a bitch, and I know for a fact that he heard that during one of my road rages, because you don't hear that a lot on Sesame Street.
No. I used a bad word one time. I played soccer in college, and I played with a bunch of British guys. And do you know what English soccer players' favorite? Yes, thank you, Dave Schrader. Tell him that's Mr. I couldn't even, dude. With the kids behind me, I was totally like, dumb. And then I started to drive away, and then I go, oh, I should have mouthed like I wish I had done that without the kids like behind me going. But I didn't even do that. It was too late. I was like, I just drove away like, I guess I am a bitch in a way. Thanks, Dave Schrader. Maybe he should call in. But I played soccer with a bunch of British dudes. And do you know what their favorite swear word is as English soccer players? It's a bad word.
What is it?
It starts with a C. It's a very bad word, right? But you've heard like that's a British thing. Like it's not that bad of a word over there.
It's frowned upon here.
Super, super frowned upon here.
It might. In fact, I believe that in the current English language is here in America the most frowned upon word.
Number 1, I would argue. But I got used to saying it because, trying to be a British soccer player, man. I want to be that guy. And so they would drop C words all the time, and I jumped in and like, oh, you're a C word, you're a C word. I was like, oh, it was kind of like, hey, I felt like a soccer player. but that kind of stayed with me. And then I went on to life. Yes, cookie, Katie. Yes, the word is cookie. That's Fred Durst's favorite swear word. He did it all for the
cookie.
nookie. Something about a cookie, and then there's a chocolate starfish involved. I forget how Limp Bizkit did it. That's how Limp Bizkit goes.
That's the first time we've used the term chocolate starfish on this program.
Yeah, that's a Fred Durst thing, right?
I think so.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's how my days unfolded. Even with the kids back in school, the whole day is like, it's just grinding, isn't it? It's so.
So for me, we are on week 3 of the twins had to start speech therapy, and I touched on this a little bit with you on the phone, and I felt like I was a bad parent because they just weren't talking, and they're over 2 years old now, and I always kind of suspected that they could, but they had taken a vow of silence as like monks training for their eventual overthrowing and murdering of me. And we had here in our county, we have something called early childhood intervention, and they come in and they do an assessment of your children. And like when I was a kid, like if you weren't eating paste, they just kind of let you go. Like if you weren't like eating glue off the table or eating rocks, they just kind of let you go. And like now there's like all these metrics, and like I feel at 2 I'm being pressured to like set my kids up to this bar. And it turned out that the kids actually really enjoy it because the lady makes it very fun for them. But I really did feel like I was a horrible dad because like I wasn't meeting up to these metrics.
Yeah, I totally get it. And everybody is so diagnosed now that when we were young, it was like, nature to me just has a way of weeding. It's like it kind of separates you into the where you belong fashion. Back in the day, it was like, hey, I'm going to be an athlete. No, you're not going to be an athlete. Hey, I'm going to be in the math club. No, you're not going to be in the math. Like there were cuts, and you just go, well, I guess. But in a way, it was great because instead of being propped up to go like, yeah, you can be, yeah, you're on the baseball team, great. Why waste your time doing that when you should be doing something that will probably serve you better for the rest of your life, as opposed to going, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we're almost trying to make kids what they're not, as opposed to going, hey, find your path. Like Bill Gates was probably the biggest nerd in his class, and who knows, maybe he tried to do something, and then his mother's like, hey, have you seen this in computer lab at the University of Seattle? And he goes, oh, I do want to be a gillionaire. So I don't know.
Yeah, and he was not great on the field hockey team.
No, he was not. Hey, we have a fantastic guest today.
I'm super excited about this.
Me too. So, and it's great. It's great. All the people who are commenting, it's so much fun. So we've only been doing this a couple shows, and we've already had Steven Seagal, and we had Bruce Springsteen show up on the show. But of course, everybody, at least I know some people don't know that is a celebrity impressionist who's a friend of ours. And I always felt bad because we didn't really give him the credit that he deserved because he crushed it. I honestly think Don the Dragon Wilson thought that may have been Steven Seagal on the phone.
Funny thing about that, when you first talked to him about that and you said we were bringing in Seagal and you did quotation fingers, he started rolling up his sleeves because he thought you really had Seagal coming into the chat. And I was like, oh my God, Don the Dragon Wilson's throwing down in our green room.
Yeah.
And all because of this super talented guy that's about to join us.
Yeah, so let's just bring him in. He's a really good friend of mine. He is in a really famous improvisational group called Beer Shark Mice with Dave Koechner from Anchorman, Neil Flynn from Scrubs and The Middle, and a million other shows, and Pat Finn and Mike Coleman. You've seen him in Elf. You've seen him in Glow, a ton of TV shows. He has a new show he just booked as a voice impressionist for Robert Smigel, who does Triumph, the insult comic, insult dog. And he's a really funny cat. Mr. Pete Hulne is our guest today. Hey, buddy.
Hey, how are you,
man?
Jamie? What's up, man? How are you guys?
Good. How are you,
Jason?
It's really funny because people were like, hey, you had Seagal on your show. And I was like, No, we didn't have Steven Seagal on our show. But people really thought, and I think Don Wilson really thought you were Seagal for a minute. And it was funny too because you never really did him before. And I said, hey, can you do Seagal? And I sent you a clip that day, and then you came on the show, and I was like, wow, dude, that was really good. Yeah.
I listen to him a little bit, and if it's in my cadence, my range, if he has a raspy-ish voice or whatever, not that he has to have that, but I find that it's easier for me to do, and I don't know. It's fun to do, and I always like messing around with you two clowns.
I know, man.
Hey.
How did you always do impressions?
I would always do, like we all did, probably, being comedians and comics and improvisers and whatever you want to call it. I would always imitate my mother, my father, my cousins, my aunts and uncles, and my brothers and sister would love when I would do my uncle, and they would say it was spot on, but then when the uncles and aunts would find out that I did it, then they go, well, I'd like to hear I hear you do an imitation of me. No, I'd like to hear it. No, can I hear it? And then I'd go, don't be putting me on the spot. Nobody likes it when you get put on the spot, but I would do it. And he goes, it doesn't sound anything like me.
Your kid just walked behind you. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah. There's a class act over here. My son's just walking around. He just got out of the shower. He's a cool kid, Devin, say hi to everybody.
Hey, Kevin.
Hi.
What's
Devin,
up?
Kevin. It all works out. Devin actually, he does some imitations too. He has a couple accents. Don't you do an English accent?
Let me hear it,
The
Devin.
Jolly
Come on,
Rancher.
seriously, let them hear it. Let them hear it. They want to hear it.
Why?
Because they do. Just come here and do it. Do your English accent for him. He does it. It's pretty funny.
Wait, do I have to click this?
No, just talk to it.
Hello, would you like a Jolly Rancher?
Hey, you do a young British girl. I love that. That's I mean, geez.
You're on a show
Does
right
she
now.
work in the coal mine, or is she a seamstress?
That's it. You're done. That's it. That's all you got for me. It's always fun because I'm always doing voices all the time with the kids, and I'll just do something. And if I see somebody on TV, I'll start mimicking them and playing around, and then it's really spot on. And then later on, I just let it go away. It just sometimes dissolves. So, like, if you asked me to do Steven Seagal again right now, I'd have to listen to him a little bit, because
we're going to ask you to do it. Actually, we want you to do Steven Seagal again.
He's very very calm and patient when he talks, and he's kind of got a little lilt to his voice. Everything's a little bit dreamy.
It's so good.
Pete, I have a question for you because here's what's happened already. My kids are only like 5 and 7, and they're already like, I'm not sure they think I'm funny anymore. For a while, I was like, Dad's hilarious. Actually, bring Devin in. Let's talk to Devin.
Devin, come here. Come here. They want to ask you a question. You're on
I
the
think
show.
the father
You're
son
on a
thing
podcast
first.
right now, so I'm going to take you out of this week. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Hey, Devin, how funny is your dad?
Honestly.
He's I think he's funny. Like whenever he goes to parties, he's the life of the show, I guess. Of the party. Sorry.
That's a pretty good compliment. I like
But
that.
I feel like that's
But around us, he's
on a scale of 10,
big time.
Devin.
Wait, come here, Devin.
That's it?
Pretty big critics around my house. Big time critics.
Is he making a lot of dad jokes?
Some bad jokes, some dad jokes, yeah, constantly.
What's up with the Harry Styles haircut, Devin?
Yeah, he does. He's got to get a haircut.
I like it long.
He likes it long. Just shake it out, bro. Like sometimes I just do that. I'll just do like a surfer guy, and I'll be like, "Hey, bro, what do you say, man? Hey, let's get on the surfer and do it." You know what I mean? Get it down, right? You know what I mean?
Put your headphone back in. It's better for sound.
All right, bro. Take it easy.
I love that. You know what's great about kids, Pete? He keeps going, no, I gotta go, and then he leaves frame, and then it's like
he comes back in.
Like, what's happening? And then he's like,
Well,
and you're like, hey, you want to be part of it? And he's like, no, I don't want to be part of that at all. And then he's just popping back, hey, so but what's happening here?
Well, because he's probably the the funniest little Hulne. Yeah, I shouldn't say that around him, but he's probably the funniest one out of all of them. He makes us all laugh. He'll do something. He does little voices and does things, and then he doesn't let it go. So we all laugh at him. So. He's got his first pimple on his nose. We're really happy and proud about that.
Oh,
How old is he?
So, 13.
Oh, here it
And I
comes,
was like-
man. Here
I
it
was like,
comes.
here you go. I go, hey, like they don't like this joke. Like when you'll do it to your daughters, I'm sure. And I just was like, hey, what the hell's on your face? And he was like, what are you talking about? I go, something's growing off your nose. He was like, what? And I go, what do you got, an identical twin brother growing off the side of your nose? What's going on here? So he didn't like that.
No.
You know
What's great is
And
to
you're-
humiliate children as they're growing up. I feel the same way, but I think that it honestly goes to what we were talking about. It's the best way to prepare them for life, to go, hey, man, this is what the real world's going to do to you. So
It's gonna be cruel.
These kids and go, yeah. I tease my kids all the time, and I go, you know how to get people to stop teasing you? Just ignore them. That's the best thing in life. Like people can't. They go,
Yeah.
I got to comment on. I know you said don't comment on this, but I have a lot to say about this subject.
we frequently,
absolutely.
Jamie and I frequently get comments that we're too mean-spirited on this show.
From YouTube, you guys
Yeah.
get comments on that? Really? Well, I'm a harsh critic. I mean, TV could be on, I'm commercials, anybody's on, I'm imitating them, I'm goofing around, I'm making fun of them, and the family goes crazy. Like, why are you so mean? Why do you have to do that? Why do you have to do that, Dad? And I'm like, well, why not? Why can't I? I'm at home. I'm in my house. I can't. You know what I mean? Whatever.
Hey, you talked about being that, people don't know you're a twin. Like you talked about the evil twin on his nose. You grew up as a twin, and it's funny because we talked the other day, and you're out of the two twins, you went this way, and your other brother went that way.
Yes. Well,
Talk
first
about
of
that
all,
a little.
we're identical twins. And he's a fireman, and I'm a actor. So I'm self-conscious. My hair was getting a little crazy there. And I want to do an Adidas plug. So send me some
that's
stuff.
good.
Yeah. My twin brother, he's 3 minutes older than me. And he loves to say that he's my big brother. He's like, I'm your older brother. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I guess so. And I'm taller than him by an inch. So I always go, yeah, I guess you're the older brother, but I'm the taller brother, so I can look down on him. But
Save the
he
best
came
for
out.
You guys really rib each other pretty harsh, man. That's pretty rough, the two of you going at it.
He came out with a black eye when he was born. And first of all, when I was born in 1967, they did not know that I was inside. How freaky is that?
It's kind of scary.
All right. So my mom delivered Pat, my brother, and when he came out, the doctor was like, hold on, Mrs. Hulne, Kate, you're gonna have to push again. She's like, what are you talking about? There's another one in there. Pushed me out, and he came out with a black eye, and I don't know what, I don't know what happened with I was like, hey man, I didn't want any more womb mates. Come on, So I gave him a punch and punched him out. I stretched out in there a little bit, and then I hopped out 3 minutes later. But and he had both names of my grandfathers. So he was Patrick and Lois. That's both my grandfather's names. And then they didn't have a name for me. Now they could have split it, but they didn't. So you know what they called me for a while? The consolation prize. And my brothers and sister still call me the consolation prize because they didn't know they were having me.
That's interesting.
Special.
Like
Very
we
special.
found out
So
we were
weird.
having twins literally like very early on. And so like we were prepared for it the entire time. I can't imagine like going through all that and then all of a sudden, oh hey, here's another kid.
Absolutely. And I don't know if you have girls, he has girls, but girls you could put down on the ground and you just leave them there with a book or something, and they don't move too far away from the ground. Boys, you put them down on the ground, you turn your back, they're up the flagpole and they're jumping onto the garage, So it's frightening.
I have two
I
boys.
feel for my mom and dad.
Have you not seen my girls? What are you talking about?
Just come on. They don't go far. You think it's crazy that your kids go out in front and play on the swing? We'd be across the street down the block asking money from the homeless guy to go get a Coke or something. That's what would happen. And that's no joke. One time, my mom's from Ireland. We were in Ireland. We went to the Shrine of Knock. And while we were there, I don't know if you know about this, it's a glass entombed place where the Virgin Mary showed herself. I think, oh my God, that's embarrassing. The Virgin Mary showed herself. And so we somehow, while we were there, it's glass. It's like the Pentagon, it's just glass all the way around and like different scenes all the way around it. And so out of nowhere, my mom and dad were like, going, where'd the twins go? Then you went to see the twins. My brother and sister are older and they were looking for us. Our cousins are around. They couldn't find us. We were inside looking out of the glass, looking out at them. And they were like going, we found them. They're right here. They're inside. How did they get in? Nobody knew how we got in there. We don't know how we got in there. It was like a mini miracle at the Shrine of Knock. And they didn't know how to get us out. Nobody knew how to get us out. They had to go to some pub into town where they got the keys from some janitor or something that like ran it and came out, somehow got us out. I don't even know how we were up there, in there.
Did the Virgin
Crazy.
Mary let you in?
I was gonna say. I mean,
isn't that crazy though? It's
some guys walk on water and some guys can walk through glass. It's just maybe it's a special skill you have, my brother.
When my parents had when they had us and they brought us to Ireland, my mother was one of 13. She was sitting there with the window behind her, having tea with her sister. She hadn't seen her in a long time, and my brother and I were up on top of this jagged rock fence in Ireland. It's like just jagged rock sticking out of cement wall, and it was like 7-8 feet tall. Somehow we got up there and we're balancing, walking on top of it. And as my Aunt Betty, or I think Aunt Eileen was drinking, they looked out the window. They dropped their tea and they said, Kathleen, your boys, they're up on top of that wall. They'll surely fall to their death. And my mom didn't even turn around. She just said, they got up there some way. They'll surely find their way down. I mean, if you didn't have that way of looking at it, you'd go insane. Come on, Jason, you got to admit, sometimes you got to be like, he ate a shoe. Whatever, he ate a rubber band. He'll poop it out. Come on.
I was just at soccer practice with my daughter, and the little one was on the sideline, and I had a folding chair that has like the two arms. It just folds out.
Sure.
And so one of the other parents touches me on the shoulder and points over, and my daughter is standing on the two arms of the fold-out chair, rocking it back and forth. And she's next to like a couple poles. She's not like in the middle of the field. She's right next to these like cement poles. And I was like,
electric lines.
Yeah. Punji sticks. There was like a deep bear trap there. It was nuts, man. And there was
holding water.
With a dude with a chainsaw running like right below her. It was crazy. And I was like, I said the exact same thing of like, she'll figure it out. I said first, one way or the other, man.
First of all, you've got two redheads, so gingers are
trouble.
That's rough stuff.
Fire. They'll be lighting things on fire, I would argue.
Oh yeah.
Have you gone down and just introduced yourself to the police force in your neighborhood already, Jamie? Just so you're familiar with who you're going to deal with later.
Yeah. I'm already on the watch list. I'm on a neighborhood watch list at this point. Hey, enough about my kids. It's about Pete at this point. So listen, as a twin, did you guys ever like have throwdown fights and like each other in the face?
My brother and I, to this day, and we talk all the time, every day. We either email or text. I mean, text or phone call every day, give or take. We may miss a day or two, but we were so competitive on everything, from girls to eating to whatever. You can't imagine. And people go, "Oh, well, I'm really close to my brother." I'm like, yeah, it's not the same as a twin. And Jason, I heard you saying like your twins are coming up with their own language and everything. We had our own language. We would talk and communicate with each other. It was simplified. Don't get me wrong. We used to speak with just putting an L in front of every word, but we said it so fast. But you wouldn't understand it because he's just my twin.
It was like Nell. I thought we were watching Nell 2, the Hulne story. It was like,
What tips would you give me to survive my twin boys? Like, you obviously you're and your brother both alive and seemingly doing well. What tips would you give me to survive my twin boys?
Number one, always get 2 of everything.
actually, hold on. Do me a favor. Can you give the advice? Can you rephrase the question, Jason, and ask Bruce Springsteen to help you say, because Springsteen, have Bruce Springsteen give you advice on how to raise twins.
Okay. Look, Bruce, I got to ask, can you give me advice on how to survive my twin boys?
Well, Jason, twins are double trouble. There's no doubt about that. Patty and I always wanted to have twins. We never amounted much to getting 1 or 2. But I'll tell you, the best advice I could give to you is buy 2 of everything and also have 2 different colors. Give the boys a color. All right. I knew a set of twins, Pete and Pat, and Pete was blue and Pat was green. And that's just the way it was. And everything was just blue and green, so they wouldn't fight. If they did lose something, they always had what was theirs. Okay? Blue and green, that's what you need for the twins, double trouble. Can't you see? Hey.
I would argue, Bruce, that they would be better off, like, my kids are Irish twins, basically. We call them because they're 18 months apart. Like, people always think they're twins, but they're not.
Hey, get off your wife once in a while. You know what I mean?
Hey, man, listen. Like, you think it was me? I was told exactly what to do and when to do it. So don't even kid yourself about that.
Well, like Patty and I said back in the day, when she wanted to get pregnant, I said, well, hell, I don't mind trying. It's at least it's fun.
Yeah, come on. Trying part's fun. It's after the kids are born. That's the rough part. But we learned a lesson not to ever buy different. Like, if there's 2 princess cups, they're both the same princess. We're not buying one Moana and one.
No, never, ever.
Exact same.
I'll tell you why. If they both have similar cups, but one has a different princess on it, then you know which one was the bad one and lost theirs, or broke it, or chipped it. Now the other one is stuck, right? Because she's been good. She's had her cup. She knows where it is. She knows what kind of juice is in it. She knows how she's going to drink it and how to do what she wants with it, with her straw. But once the other one, the evil one, and there's always an evil one, breaks hers or loses it, she's going to steal the other one. See? So you have to have 2 of them that look exactly the same, but have a different color. Like I said, blue and green, or perhaps a princess or something on there. So I don't know, give me a couple Disney. You could have Snow White. Whoa, boy, I'm showing my age. And I don't know, the other one from Beauty and the Beast.
All right, that's pretty helpful. Actually, we have a great question. Pete's pretty big in Elf. He's in a lot, and Michelle Pulver wants to know, what was it like filming Elf?
It was a blast because we were up in Canada in Vancouver, and I got to hang out with my brother for a month and a half or something, hanging out in Vancouver, and we would just I was shooting a movie with Ed Asner, Bob Hope, a couple of Chicago Second City guys, and Will Ferrell. It was awesome. James Caan. He wasn't with me because
he's not with you. That's right. He doesn't go up.
He was in the New York scenes.
That's right.
And then Favreau, who he and I came up together in Chicago doing improv comedy. So it was great. It was a blast. It was very fun. You know what I mean? Hey, it was a lot of fun drinking, the kind of beer they have there in Canada, kokanee. So my brother and I couldn't stop saying kokanee. Hey, how about another kokanee, huh? Hey,
That's funny, dude. I'm from New Hampshire, and they always talk on the from the Montreal side, they would go down to play the hockey on the West Side Arena, to rink around a skate a few times and line up side by each, you know? That's always great. They have some 10 penny ale from his Moosehead and stuff. That's great. That's funny. We should show. So before that, you were talking about your improv group. Here's the picture of your group, Beer Shark Mice. Can you pop that up there, Jason?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is kind of cool because this is how I saw you the first time. And of course, killers, Neil Flynn from The Middle, Scrubs, Dave Koechner from Anchorman, Pat Finn from, he's in Seinfeld. He plays...
Mayo.
That's right, he's Mayo. And Coleman, who was just in Drunk History for the last few years. And you with these, I mean, murderer's row of improv guys. And you guys used
also, you're forgetting Paul Valancourt is with us too. So Paul Valancourt does improv tips. Well. Very, very good. Very talented. Very, very great.
So it was kind of cool because I kind of came up and I started doing all these improv shows, and then everyone was like, "You got to see Beer." You guys had this kind of pedestal, and obviously from the work that everyone's done. But then I would see the show and I go, "Yeah, actually, pretty solid stuff." So how did you guys all meet, and how did that become a thing?
Well, when we were all in Chicago, and we all were doing improv in Chicago and at Improv Olympic. And then we all wanted to do Second City, and we did all that. And Mike Coleman and I met each other. He did Second City as well, but then went to the Annoyance Theater, and he and I did Annoyance Theater together. And but these were guys that I just hung out with. You know, Flynn and I were on a team called The Family with Adam McKay, Ian Roberts, Matt Besser, Miles Stroth, Neil Flynn, and Adam McKay. Did I already say his name? Mm-hmm. And Ali Farinakian. And so that was, talk about a murderous row there. That was awesome. And then, so when I'd hang out with these guys, when we came out to LA from Chicago, we were doing improv, doing the Armando, which is another improv form. And we'd always end up at the end of the bar, drinking a few beers after the show, talking, making each other laugh. And I was like, you know what? Why don't we put a show together? So I like to say I put it together. You know, I put Beer Shark Mice together. And it
does sound it.
I mean, those guys should be sending you residual checks from all of the work they've done.
Well, I'm the president of Beer Shark Mice. And they'll all vouch for that. They all know who the president of Beer Shark Mice is. This guy right
there.
But, and then, Pat McCartney was with us for a while, and then he left and got out. So it was just us five. And then Paul later joined us after like 4 or 5 years we were doing it. And then we needed some other guys because Koechner was doing his shows and Flynn was leaving doing stuff. We needed an extra guy to sit in. So he was always available. So
it was, I mean, every guy who came down was like, well, hey, if you ever need someone, every improviser would, I mean, people must have been calling you, hey, if you need somebody, I would gladly.
Well, we did because we used to get people to play with us, you know, guys and girls, we would ask. And some people just didn't want to do it, you know. And I'm not saying that they were intimidated or whatever, but, you know, but sometimes, you know, they just were like, no, I don't think that's it.
It is tough. It is tough to join. We talked about this earlier about being a guest star on a show. It's like the hardest job ever because
it's the worst.
This series regular cast has been there forever, and you have to come in and be equal to everybody, but really not step on anybody's feet. I mean,
it's true.
The week I did Will and Grace, they all made $1 million that week. That was their paycheck. And I'm working for scale. But when you're in the scene and it's Gene Wilder and Eric McCormick, you got to go like, you're kind of terrified because you're like, I'm leaving Friday. I'm only here for 3 days. You better don't blow it. And you're like,
but you know what? But basically, because you're talented as hell, it's all confidence.
It is.
And
but
you know, I have to say that to myself.
It cracks.
It is, but you have to go in there with confidence and just be like, hey, I belong here.
Yeah.
I've worked on what I've done, and I believe I should be here. And you know.
Even if it's pure delusion, you better own it. Hey, speaking of utter confidence, we have. You're gonna hang. We have an amazing gentleman who he's a Scotch taster. He calls in from Scotland, and each week he tastes a Scotch and he talks about it, and it's pretty great. Do we have Archie, Jason?
Yep, let me patch him in.
Yeah, Archie, how are you, brother?
Wow, great, Jamie. It's great to see you, Jason. Great to see you as well. That's some good good education on improv there. You know, I get a wee bit bluter myself. I've been known to make up dialogue to get out of a whooping by the wife. You know, yeah. So you've got to be quick on your feet when you come home, and you've got 3-day-old sausage in your back pocket, you know, and a pint. So you're going to be fast. Hey, it's good to see you. It's good to see you. My weigh-ins, they're all over the house. I think one's stuck up the chimney there. Yeah, there you go. I said, no iPads for the week. You go run and hide yourselves. And she's been missing for about 3 days, but I've got to tell you, it's a lot quieter. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, Archie, this is our special guest for the week, Pete Hulne. He's an actor and an improviser. So Archie's he's a very famous Scotch taster who calls in.
Now I heard he was a beer shot mice. Was that it? Beer shot mice.
Shark, lad, shark.
Yeah, well, look at
you. No.
Get your swally on, why don't you?
Sure enough, you cunt.
Yeah, being called out. Oh, that's
can we speak like a real Scotsman?
Guys, there's no fighting on the show. Come on, man. Archie came in. Archie talks about a certain Scotch every week. What's the Scotch this week, Archie?
The Balvenie Caribbean. I've got
that sounds delicious.
BLM in my kilt today. I'm shaking my booty with a Caribbean cask. You know, it's got a wee bit of that influence of the oak, where they soak it there in the rum. So it's the thing about Balvenie is like 2 alcohols in one, right? You got your whiskey and you got your rum. So if you need to take a vacation from your troubles, a few quick sips and off you go. That's it. So nice. I haven't tried mine yet tonight because the other Wayne he put there is Miller Genuine Draft, the MGD. We don't want MSG in our food, but we want MGD on our cereal flakes in the morning.
Look at that fancy can.
Look at that can.
Do you like that?
That's a nice form of aluminum right there. Look at that. Tightly packed. In a Sunday.
Hey, Archie, Pete was talking about the fact that his mom's straight off the boat from Ireland.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any problems between Scotland and Ireland these days?
No, there's no problem. The only problem is, the export-import of liquid. That's it. Sometimes they're a wee bit behind and sometimes we're a wee bit behind. But as long as there's that magical drink called whiskey, whether it's Irish, all the peated whiskies are all Gaelic. See, that's germane. That's the word. I'm not talking about one of the Jacksons. That's germane to both of us, that Gaelic language. So Irish, Scottish, liquids, doesn't matter, eh? As long as you're both drinking, we like each other. Right, you saw Braveheart, right? The crazy Irish guy that's out in the fight.
But plus,
that's who you sound like.
It's really your hatred for the English is really what drives both of you.
Wankers. You've seen Trainspotting.
Yes.
Yes, Billy Connolly used to say, English, fuck off. And that's a term of endearment, really. I'm sad to hear that Prince Philip died before he had the chance to get with another young lass. No.
Wow, we went dark on this show.
Sorry.
Maybe they're right. Maybe we are a little dark on this show. Maybe.
I'm just telling you the truth.
It's the first episode. I'm actually going to have to use the dump button.
Oh, that's the rum talking. That wasn't me. I mean, come on. I'm missing 3 of my kids today. I'm a wee bit stressed.
Now, listen, it happens.
It happens.
Archie has how many kids? 13 or 14?
I think it's down to 14 or up to 13. I'm not sure. It's fluctuating. I know it mathematically changes. It's like the Pythagorean theorem in here. The kids, they come and they go and they intersect like moths to a light. So you can't keep track.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Archie, we need to really start. We need to start showing people the whiskey that you're gonna taste that week, because each week I reach out and I go, hey Archie, what are we tasting this week? We want to share it with the fans so that they can join in and have a cocktail with everybody. But a lot of times you never do, so it's a last second thing, and we don't know what you're drinking. If it's even bathtub whiskey, we don't know what's happening. So maybe we can be more professional from now on, and we can actually tell people the whiskey we're gonna taste.
I see that he's going for his hair. That looks like it. Oh, look at that! Kept inside the door like the murder weapon. There's the murder weapon. That's a sweet one, That was a good one for your kid, your weigh-ins. You're turning 16. A good beginner's whiskey. James,
Always good for the money. Good for the
that's
money.
right. You're going Catholic on that one. Well, to tell you the truth, this week's whiskey is in a half and half milk jug because I didn't even want my wife to find out. Redbreast, absolutely perfect. Redbreast 12.
That's fucking nice, right?
That's
That's
a good
fucking
one.
nice.
That's fucking beauty. That's a beauty. That is a big, dirty, rummy caramel beauty.
I have another one from another good friend of mine.
Oh, yeah.
His name might be Jamie Kaler, but I don't know. I think I left it outside.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Kayla the Whaler. That's what.
Oh, you know why? Because you built this Murphy bed. He came over and built a Murphy bed in my house.
Wait, Pete was the one that you made do
Yeah.
that?
Pete's the one I made. This is how great Pete
I've
is.
been drinking ever since.
I got my calendar. It's
Pete's
basically
really good with construction, and he can swing a hammer pretty well. So I go, hey man, can you help me build this Murphy bed? And he goes, yeah. He thinks it's going to be like an hour or two, 3 days.
Archie, it took 3 days. 3
Yes.
days.
Gilligan's Murphy Bed Island. There it was. You went off for a 3-hour tour. You came back 3 days later with the howls and a place to sleep.
We should have videotaped. We should have videotaped it. That's my age again. We should have just.
We should have tin typed it. It really would have.
Yeah, kinescope, I think they call those things. Yeah. See, that's like Jamie's act, right? You tell your wife, oh, yeah, that bed took 3 days to make, when reality is 30 minutes. You could have done it IKEA, but that's the way you get away with a 3-day weekend, right?
Or Jamie, he couldn't get off his wife and he had 2 kids so fast. It only took him 30 seconds. Come on.
That's it.
God model.
Weekend at
Very
Jamie's.
nice. All right, I think Archie needs to. I think we got what we needed from Archie for the day.
Yeah, go and drink that Balvenie. If you don't want your wife to find out, I recommend half and half milk jugs or Captain Crunch with crunch berries and Balvenie.
We are going to do an actual Scotch tasting very soon.
I will do it with you for sure, Archie.
Honestly, we're going to have Archie.
I'm not a Scotch guy, but I would do it.
No, we'll do a whiskey tasting. We'll figure out but we're going to share the whiskey with everybody, and hopefully everyone from home can do it, and then we'll have everyone come into the show, and we'll kind of do
all right. I'll do that.
Yeah.
do a Saturday night tasting, I think. So,
I'd love to do it.
Archie, always a pleasure, my friend. And honestly,
Hi, Arch.
I don't have any fires until you check the chimney. Just to make sure. Okay. He's yeah. So I think Jason has a little video he wants to set up and share with you, and maybe Gary Busey stops by to do the commentary. Jason.
Okay, let's see it.
Okay. So this is, are we doing the first one or the, okay, I'll grab.
Oh, you, my friend.
Okay. Let me grab.
Well, we should, for those people who don't know Gary Busey, right?
Well, they should. They should know who I am. I've been around a long time. I've been a long time.
Well, talk about Gary. Can you talk about your early years and some of your bigger movies? I know you were Oscar nominated at one point.
Hell yeah. I was in a great movie, The Buddy Holly Story, and everybody loved it. I loved it. I had big teeth. They put it in there. I looked like George Washington. They carved it out of wood. But I'll tell you one thing. I really love that movie, and I should have won the Academy Award, and I didn't. And that's all right. Cocksuck motherfucker. Anyways,
Hey, Gary. Hey, so I've got clips of kids in predicaments and situations, and I'd love to get your commentary on some of this stuff. Would you be up for that?
I would love to. I'd love to.
You could even do it with Steven Seagal, since he knows fighting so much, and since you guys worked on Under Siege together.
Yeah, Under Siege. We worked together, and I also worked with great late Patrick Swayze. You know that. We were in that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And
He-
Keanu. Yeah.
Talk about a badass. He was a badass indeed.
So you know a thing or two about fighting.
All right.
I sure
here we
do.
go.
I sure do. That's how I like to make Gary Busey right there. Hey, look at this guy. How about a hug? Hey, get down. Get down. You want to play Twister? Why didn't we buy the real Twister? Why are we just using this rug? Who knows? Hey, look at that. Hey, some guy, Gary Busey, this old white man's watching us play. Hey, look at that. Grab my hand. Smell my farts. Hey, get on me. Ride me like a bull. What do you think? I'm going to grab you by your hair, by your horns. Hey, girl, get on this red ball with me. What do you say? Bouncing around a little bit? I'll push your stick. Take that. How about that, Steven Seagal? You go down, you little rat. Oh, no. Cat fight. Cat fight. Look at him go. Yeah. Oh, boy. She's got some sort of 1970s, some sort of thing on. I don't even know what it was. Oh, boy. Bury him. Bury that son of a bitch.
No, you didn't put him on the floor.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Go over here,
He's
pick
got
up
a
the damn
diaper.
socks.
You know he pooped himself.
boy.
You know he did. You know he did. Oh, boy. Twins. Here we go. Double trouble. Oh, yeah. Here we go. That's what they do. Right away, they start fisticuffing
Come
now.
pick up these socks.
And look at the old man. He's not even going to try to help him. He's just going to let him go swing at it. Oh, look at these two. There we go. Hey, what about me? Hey, come on. Hey, hey, this is Lincoln Cuff. Oh, let me go through that hole. Hey, smack you in the face. What are you talking about? Why am I inside this cocoon? I'm in here. I'm riding this bicycle. It's a motorcycle, you idiot. Get on with it.
Fighting.
Oh, they're fighting each other. And the other kids just oh, no. While they're doing
hug your sister
dog
again?
smacking like a
Love
Terminator.
your sister.
Hey, check. Oh, give him a kick. Give him a karate chop. What do you say? Give him a oh, yeah. Smack that booty. There you go. Down. Oh, all the way down. Couple of redheads.
Mandible
Couple of redheads.
claw.
You know there's going to be trouble here. He just took something out of his throat.
Come on, smell.
Oh boy, check that out. Oh, that you know what's gonna happen here. There it is. There it is. He just got him hit in the face with a hot dog weenie. That's what that was. Oh, twins again. Look at these two. Double trouble. They both got the same thing on. Yeah, here we go. Smack her in the face. Give her a smack in the face. Come on. Oh, just push. That's it. Oh boy. Boy, how long is this gonna go on? Did he really just bite her? He says, I think it's going to go. Here we go. Oh, yeah, he bit brick
There we
wall.
go.
It's like
Hey,
hey.
what are we doing here? I was doing Jerry Lewis all of a sudden. No,
It was long.
boy.
It's amazing, and that was like a fraction of the amount of clips that we found. Like everyone's like, oh, look at my kids killing each other, and posted for hilarity, right? Even though we're like so protective of our kids, but like, yeah, it's no big deal. You punch the other one in the face. Just keep going.
As long as it gets the hits on the
Right,
social
that's
media.
what everybody's doing, isn't it?
Those are all
Doesn't
TikTok.
everybody have their phone and they're just trying to catch things?
Yeah,
Like, that's crazy.
there is a weird thing to it, right? Where it's like, but that's it. The problem is that we have friends who like won't let their kids use their iPads, and I was like, well, that is the future. Like that's the kids' textbook.
Yeah, but it's babysitting. You know, you're letting some piece of machinery babysit your kid.
I mean, I grew up watching cartoons all Saturday morning with the television. Was that wrong?
Well, that's because your parents didn't love you.
No, they had 6. I was lucky I was even there. Hey, speaking of which, you grew up in a time when they didn't even know you were a twin. So
Twin, they didn't even know I was going to come out. They
that's
had no
what I'm talking
clue.
about. Yeah, actually, Carlos Alazraki stopped by. I guess,
Hey guys, what's going on?
Carlos is here.
Hey,
Carlos, hello.
how? I'm side-lit.
It's funny because he just popped into the show. We didn't even know Carlos was going
Yeah,
to
I
be.
just-
Carlos, do you know Pete?
Hi, Pete.
Hello, Carlos. How are you?
I'm well.
Let's
I've-
virtually shake our hands. That's the wrong hand, but I'll take it. Okay.
Carlos, I heard Fauci had some new news for everybody today.
Yeah, it is totally safe to go outside as long as you are a heavy smoker and you have some old Winston filters hanging around and you put them at the front of your mouth like a pan flute. You'll be fine.
That's where it goes.
I don't know. Yeah. I do. I got a Dr. Fauci video coming. I got my second vaccine, so I did.
I just got mine today.
Good for you.
You look like a Fauci there with the glasses and
do
everything.
with the glasses because if you're gonna, you got to use the look, right? Great, Gary. I heard Gary Busey is what I saw was fantastic. It was amazing. That was amazing, and just what a I was weighing in while it was to see that super stardom lineup of improvisers. David Koechner. He did like one of the original episodes of Reno 911 where we reshot the pilot. He played a captain that took a crap on his desk, so the department let him go. And we were just standing together out in the parking lot, and just his face before I even got up to him. Nope, done. Can't do it.
What, he was already making you laugh?
You just got, you know.
Come on.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So I marvel. I've done a couple of Armandos in my life with Cedric Yarborough, Matt Craig, who was Second City guy. I've been with Mindy Sterling, Stephanie Courtney, Wendy McClendon Covey.
Sure.
I'm totally lost on an Armando.
Really?
I'm like, you know, that classic shitty electric football player just spinning in a circle while everybody's really playing the game. It's really hard. It's a whole different animal.
But well, what was your training?
Nothing. It's a stand-up comic and a few improv classes at the old Cahuenga Theater, which is now a Greyhound station on Cahuenga and Hollywood Boulevard. There was a guy named Tommy Giavacchini when I moved here in 94, 95. We paid $5 every Wednesday. We had the theater for 3 hours and play improv games. So I didn't have proper training per se, but
Armando, were you the monologist?
No, no,
you weren't.
I was a monologist on one of them, and
was that easier for you?
No, because I didn't
That's
do it.
way easier for you, man. All you
I
have to
would
do is
think
tell a
that
story
if you're a
at the top.
stand-up, that's what would be best.
This guy Jeremy did a really great one, and Jeremy's in a lot of those progressive commercials too. He's a groundlings, but there is a difference between people who are really good at Armandos versus sort of stuff you make up on stage as a comic, or even improv after a stand-up set, you know, because you're pretty much playing free and you're keeping it simple. But to be able to recall information and fit it into another,
yeah, it's a tool, no doubt about it, and it's something that you have to practice.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard.
They're totally different tools, but the problem is, and I've done a lot of both, and you would see like a comic would get in there, they wouldn't listen.
No.
The thing with improv is you're trying to, you have to let everything go and then you have to follow where the scene goes, not where you want it to go.
No, exactly. Yeah. If you try to force
comics,
it never works.
They will get, all of a sudden you can see his bit come out and you're like, dude, that's one of your bits. And he tries to jam it down.
He forced it in there.
And then the opposite is improvisers I've seen try to do stand-up. And they're just kind of weaving their way through it. And you're like, well, that's a good 2-minute bit. It's sad it took you 14 minutes to tell it. But yeah. So they're both mediums.
So
and
true.
We were talking about movies like Shooting Elf.
Yeah.
And I worked with McKay. I did Vice with McKay. So improvisational with Steve Carell and Christian Bale. And he would yell out stuff and you would just watch the room and you'd be like, so genius. Even though Christian Bale was like this unbelievable actor and you get lost in the moment, he could also riff. And you were like, wow, dude. It was so impressive to see. So, I mean, was McKay like that on Elf too, Pete?
Well, McKay wasn't there.
I thought that was his movie. Oh, it was Favreau's. That's right.
Favreau.
Yeah. I was telling a story about Wendy McClendon Covey on Reno when Kyle Dunnigan, as a comic, came on to improvise. Did he play that character that somebody stole my shotgun? And it was supposed to be a one-off. And because Wendy had the ability to listen, it turned into an 8-episode arc for him. So during the scene, Wendy is with Weigel, Carrie Kitty Silver, and they're going to go, what happened? Well, these kids knocked over my ice cream cone. I guess I'll go home and play with my cats. Wendy hears that, knows Weigel's character, and says, well, you know, Weigel here, she loves the cats. Maybe you guys should kind of get together. She introduces that concept. She bows out of the scene. They hit it off, and then that turns into he's the Truckee River Killer, and that's Carrie Kinder's. That's Weigel's boyfriend for 8 to 10 episodes.
Wow.
For those who have no idea what's happening, he's talking about Reno 911.
Yeah.
Shows, just so we tell everybody, because people are like, wait, what's happening? So yeah, it is funny when you work on shows that are scripted, they always like get one clean, but especially that one, wasn't Reno 911 totally improvised?
It was the A, B, and C in the scene. And it was the opposite of real improv because our job was to say, no, you can't do that. No. But we would always do B and C. So for the example I always use is Jones and Garcia go to investigate kids trying to jump their BMX bikes from one apartment building to the next. We know we're going to go up there. We know we're going to say something. We know they're going to disagree with us and eventually jump their bikes over and kill themselves, and we're going to take off. That much we know. But you just make up the dialogue as you go along. And so this kid says, we love Sopranos. So we walk over to the edge of the apartment and both Cedric and I go, oh, No way. Ain't no way you're going to happen. The kid goes, oh, I bet you I can make it. And then that turns out, oh, you bet me? Okay, Mr. Kenny Rogers, Mr. Gambler. I got $3. What do you got, Jones? I got 8 Washoe County dollars. Says that you cannot make it across. So we end up in this scenario where we're betting a child that he can't jump across this thing. And that stuff just came from, obviously, the dialogue.
Yeah.
And I always felt that because you had the A, B, and C, and you knew you had, for the most part, multiple takes on it, you could get a nice one in and then just go completely crazy.
Sure. You always give them the
Deer
safe
Shark
one.
Mice.
Yeah, the safe one first.
They're creating the ABC as they're going.
That's
They don't even know the A. All they know is the last line that dude said.
That's
And in
incredible.
their head, you're sitting there trying to go, like you think, oh, here's where the storyline should go. But then somebody else says something different. You're like, all right, we're going this way. This dude just totally changed the scene. And sometimes not even and you're like, dude, you should know better. But you can't say no. So off you go into that direction. And it's sometimes that's why it's so, it can be so brilliant, but it can also be so painful.
It can be. It can be.
There was many times I was on stage with Mindy Sterling and Kara Mariyama and those people and Stephanie Courtney, and Stephanie literally just grabbed me and goes, here, I'll help you just say something and do so. I'll give you some space work so you don't look completely lost. So it was frightening, but it's good. It's fun to watch. Like you say, it's jazz. It
is jazz, and it's a lot of give and take, but it's also like, when I'm on stage with those guys, they're so talented. It's like it's almost impossible. I mean, you get caught. I get caught watching them perform because you're like going, "Oh, this is a great scene."
Yeah.
And it's so good, but it's like my job to go in there and edit it. Otherwise, because it can't go on forever. You know what I mean? So it's like you gotta, but it is.
That's why I was
It
always
is
so jealous when I would see your group, because it was like your 4 brothers and you guys were all together as a group. And I jumped into the Groundlings and I had my other groups and stuff, but I never had that tight knit gang of like, it's like the Jets and the Sharks. Like you guys were ready to fight in the bar after. Like you were a tight unit. And you can see that on stage. Like people didn't just take the joke; they made the scene work, and then they supported everybody else, and that's why the scenes flourished. More often than not.
and we trusted each other, and we knew that whatever anybody threw out there, it was cradled and it was respected, and people would take whatever suggestion, and it was like gold. So whatever they did, you would treat it with respect and like gold, and then you would help it and nurture it and let it grow. So
I remind people I have a animated 5 of them on YouTube called it's called Off the Curb, and it started with a riff with John DiMaggio and I in a voiceover thing, and it was, man, Frankenstein will whoop Dracula's ass. Oh hell no! Frankenstein will walk up on Dracula and punch him right in the mouth. And we went with that. We got Gary Anthony Williams, Cedric Yarborough, Fred Tatasciore, John DiMaggio, Eric Bauza, and we take 57 minutes of improv and turn it into a 3-minute piece about who would kick whose ass in a fight, Frankenstein or Dracula. And the lines that Gary Anthony Williams was coming up with are just like, where are you? How are you accessing this stuff?
Tom Kenny have him on here. He's a dad too. Gary Anthony Williams is hilarious. We'll have to throw some pictures in.
So good. So good in the black.
That's how we did Dads in Parks. We just would walk up and I knew the line. I wrote some opening lines to go like, monkeys jumping on the bed is the worst book of all time. And then we would just improvise it and then cut out the fat. And then we'd have this great little 3-minute scene. I still think that's the best way. We've talked about this so many times. And if you see the great movies like Bridesmaids or, the really funny ones, Anchorman, Elf, there's all kinds of, a lot of the punchlines are like in the moment where the actor just lets it go. And that's the line that resonates, that people go, that line. And the guy's like, dude, that wasn't even in the script.
Yeah.
Like, a bigger boat was not in the script. He just said, I think we need a bigger boat. And that, of course, is like the line from the movie. Because somebody's lost in the moment and it just comes out so natural.
Yep.
And it wasn't scripted. It's not in the back of their head. They just thought it. And it was like, here we go. And that's the one that pops to me. For me, that's always like, when you're driving home after work and you had a couple of those and you're like, always.
Come on over here. That's kind of how marriage works. Like you say a great line to your wife, you're like, wow, that was pretty good. I didn't even mean that. I think I got points with that one. Honey, you know what? You made the decision tonight. How did it? What? I guess I did something good. Hi, Austin. This is my youngest.
Hello.
We got a new robot dog named Rosie, right? Yeah. Yeah.
I am a robot too. My name is 8200.
8200.
Hello, Austin.
Say hi to 8200. Wow.
How are you?
You look
I look very real, don't I?
Well, Gary Busey's great. Gary Busey's great with kids, isn't he, Pete?
He- oh, Gary Busey's the best.
Hey, how you doing, little girl? How are you? That's a great pink shirt. What do you got on there? Is there any? I can't really see it that well. Is there a name on it? What do you got? You got a? What is that? Oh, it's a unicorn. I love unicorns. I see them all the time. I have like 9 of them. I ride them. Do you know I have a stable full of unicorns?
Yeah, the
You
stable.
Do you believe me? Hey, I'm talking to you.
I think you're
You
talking
believe
about
me?
motorcycles, Gary. I believe that was a motorcycle accident you had.
True story. We go to Bob Evans' house, the Casa Reno 911 for a big party. The kid stays in the picture. Bob Evans cartoon on Comedy Central. We go to his house in Beverly Hills. We ride up in limos. We boom, boom. Cedric gets out, and Gary Busey gets out behind him and goes, "Here, man, park my car." That's the keys to Cedric Yarbrough. He thought he was a valet. It was awesome. Hey, man. Hey, buddy. Can you park my car? Oh, it was the best.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
All right. We got to get this kid to bed. All right. Let's let Carlos go. Carlos, awesome. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
Carlos.
Carlos, take care, buddy.
Oh wow, you got off
All
quick.
right, Peter. We got to bring you out. Jason, what do we got? We got anything else to bring him out on?
We have just the kid fails video.
What else?
No, that's too many. That's too many videos for him.
Why do you want to keep putting on some things?
All right, I got it. All right, what's the craziest thing that what's the most scared you've been with your kids? Whether they got injured or whether they
Like
one time
if I lost
we
my
couldn't
kid,
find Hannah. We couldn't
Yeah.
find Hannah for like 2 hours, and it was my wife was like sobbing, running around the block, and the whole time I was like, she's in the house. I know she's in the house, and guess where she was? In the
in the
house.
house.
Yeah, like,
Where was she?
I couldn't find her either. I looked everywhere, and she had curled up into a little ball and hid up in the back of a closet, up like you have to, like, if you reach up, you're like, oh my God. She found like the absolute nook. And my wife was like, I can't. When she held her, she was like, don't you ever do that again.
I'm
Don't
sure.
ever do that
Come
again."
on, that's
You're
scary.
screaming.
Was
She
she
had run around the block. Like
was
we
she
were like
asleep?
calling the police. Like it was terrifying.
Did she fall asleep in there?
No, she was hiding. No, she was
Horrible,
like being a
horrible
dick. She was a
parents.
total dick.
Horrible.
And then, yeah, she was really super young, like maybe 3, maybe. And she had hidden and was like, and she heard us calling her. And I had gone in that closet like 3 times. I go, I know she's in here, but she's really good at hiding.
What
dude.
was it? Was it hide and go seek?
No.
She just hid.
Yeah, she
It's
just
just
hid.
flee the
Because
parents.
I'm a professional hide and go seeker. People can't
All
find.
right, you know what? We should get an adult hide and go seek league. That would be super fun.
I would do that in any house, and you would not find me. I'm telling you right now. I will put a bet on that.
What's the most scared you've ever been with your kids?
So with my kids, scared.
Or you never get
Well,
scared?
my daughter had her appendix out, so that was very scary when that happened. And then my son Sean, when he was a little baby, well, that wasn't that scary. I was on. Get this, when you got little toddlers running around, mama's sleeping, and I had to go to the bathroom, number 2 on the pot, and I had him walking around doing stuff, and his teeth were really sharp at the time. And he was like walking, goofing around with me while I'm on there, and he just tripped and went, and his lip went right through, and it you could see his teeth came through it, and he goes, just screamed, and Linda got up and was like, what the hell? So we had to take him to a plastic surgeon. That was kind of scary, but nothing like losing your child. I don't think I'm saying this now, and then I'm going to bring it up to my wife when she gets home.
Yeah.
And she's going to
She's
be
gonna
like,
go this.
how about this?
This.
But they know
Yeah,
about it. I don't think I
scared.
get as crazy as, I don't know.
My little niece, who's like 1, apparently she got pushed down at the playground this past week and broke it.
What?
Shattered her arm like that. I saw the X-ray. I'm like, and of course the parents. I texted my brother-in-law. I go, dude, welcome to the club, man. because they were, of course, like everyone else, just a mess. But all our kids, I remember Hannah took a swing, sliced the side of her eye, almost took her eye out.
Yeah.
Stitches right there. And I was like, and it wasn't on my watch. It was on the babysitter was there, and I was so angry. That's the key. Like the key is when the kid get injured, just make sure it's not. That's it.
Well, one time, Devin, so now I'm telling you stories about all 3 kids, but one time Devin, there's a thing when they're at a certain age that their arm will come out of their socket. Like when you pull them and goof around with them and you're playing with them, the arm comes out of their shoulder socket. And he couldn't move it. He's like, he's screaming bloody murder. And then he was like, I can't move it. He's like, come on, move it. He's like, I can't move it. And we brought him into the doctor, and the doctor grabs the arm and kind of turns it and pushes it back, like keeps it straight, turns it, pushes it back in, and it locks it back in to the shoulder blade. So the crazy thing about it, hey, frickin' Freck, what's going on?
It's on the global internet, by the way. This is going out everywhere.
So they taught me. I saw them do that. The next day, he's doing it again. I goofing around with him. It pops out again, and he's like, ah! And my wife's going nuts, and I go, oh my god! I go, I know how to do this. I saw the doctor do it. She goes, we're going in. I go, don't worry about it. I turned it, twisted it, popped it back in. He was like, oh, feels great. Just through tears and her swinging at me.
My wife would not allow me to even begin to try that in any
I'm
way.
hands-on, Jason. I'm hands-on. I got to fix things. I got to do things.
My favorite part of that story was, and I think everyone else kind of skipped over it, was the point where you go, there's a certain age where the arm just pops out of the socket. Did you catch that, Jason? Where it's like, listen, it's not an age thing. That's what it is. When you pull it comes out of the socket.
I'm telling you.
Services when they came to the house for child abuse, and you're like, no, he just turned 5, and apparently shoulders pop out at the age of 5.
Yes, so these doctors know this. Come on, please.
I love that that it happened once, and the
I
next
did it
day
again.
still doing like airplane rides with the kid.
Exactly.
Are you an idiot?
What a moron. I'm not a smart person.
No, none of us are.
Nobody said I was.
Jason, do you have a crazy story where you were terrified that your kids weren't going to make it?
Mine is very similar to yours. Our son Jace is in his own room, and I went into, how you check on him in the night, and he was not there. And this is like 2:00 in the morning, and the child is not in his bed. We yell for him, we scream,
that's
nothing.
frightening.
We found that the door was unlocked, and I was like, oh my God, did he go outside? And so we're screaming in the neighborhood at 2:00 in the morning, screaming for him. Nothing.
Oh my God.
I have a flashlight. I'm looking around outside. I'm checking in the bushes. I'm checking all the underneath the windows where we have the drainage stuff. I'm looking everywhere for my child. And finally I had come back into the living room, and I heard him start to snore. And we have our twins, so we can keep track of them. We have their cribs in our living room currently, and there's a drawer where they keep clothes underneath. And he'd pushed all the clothes out and behind the couch, and he was in the drawer and had pushed himself back in and was sleeping in the drawer.
Yeah,
like a Three Stooges video. Let me ask you. Here's what. So we always do that, right? But for one brief second, were you like, oh, it was all a dream. I don't have kids. I mean, was there one brief second where you thought for a second of oh, I don't have children?
I thought you were going to say, was there one brief second that, oh, he's gone. Oh, thank God.
Thank God that kid's gone. That kid was trouble.
I was
a lot of work.
The door unlocked.
That's terrible. We're going to get comments, Amy. That's too harsh. You're so dark, so dark, so dark.
So dark.
We get that every week anyway.
All right. Hey, we went way long only because it's so great.
I know my kids are starving.
I know, dude. I hear them cooking, starting the stove.
You can hear that?
Yeah. Lighting and you're like, is there water? Yeah, we can hear everything you say. You're on. This is the internet.
Yeah, well, what do you want from me? I got
wandering. This Harry Styles one more time. Wandering.
What's up, bro? Yeah, bro. What's up, man?
All right, let's let Devin take us out. Devin, say goodbye to everybody.
Devin, say goodbye to everybody. Come on, say goodbye to everybody. Here, do it on this one.
He doesn't need to hear anything.
Say goodbye to everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye, Devin.
Do it in an English accent.
Boy, could they?
Do it in an English accent.
Okay.
Do it.
Goodbye, everyone. That was bad. Goodbye, everybody.
What are you, like a 4-year-old?
I know. Hey, listen, when they do the
English?
film version of Little Miss Muffet, who sat on a tuffet, that kid's gonna
Easy.
crush it.
Tell me about it, Mike. That's the way they did, right?
Right?
Yeah.
All right. Huge thanks to our main guest, Pete Hulne, for coming in today and sharing some parenting stories and a lot of fun Hollywood talk.
Thank you for having me.
Jason, what did we learn tonight?
I learned that you can push the sockets of your children's arm at the age of 5.
Well, I didn't give a name, a number, but okay, 5. That was about right.
Yeah.
Hey, and it's true. Look it up. It's a known fact that dads accidentally pull their kids' arms out of the socket. Moms too, I'm sure. Right, Devin? Do you remember when that happened?
Sure. Yeah. Listen, when all right. Listen. Thanks to Pete Hulne. We'll see you soon. Yeah, my brother. I guess that's another one we went long. But, here's the problem: is we always say we're going to be tight, but I am. It's like so cathartic to talk about.
It is, and like you get great stories, and like it's funny because like you guys were talking about how like the improv is jazz, and like I'm always in awe of all 3 of your talents. So you, Carlos, Pete, you guys are all so super talented, and you guys are playing this jazz, and meanwhile I'm over here playing on like a little Tykes like 4 keeping ding 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 ding. So I really do appreciate like everything that, like hearing those stories and kind of learning all that stuff. It's fantastic.
Yeah, super fun guest. Huge thanks to Archie for, what we have to do, and we're going to do this, and we talk about this all the time. We're going to actually show a whiskey that we're all going to tell everyone to buy. We'll give everyone like a week to buy it, and then we're going to have a Saturday night, and we'll do a Scotch tasting, and we'll just bring in guests, like some actor guests and people to come in and talk about the Scotch and stuff and tell some stories. So,
perfect. Well, everybody, thanks for dropping in. Thanks for watching the show. And Jamie and I will be back next week. Good night, everybody.